When it comes to new Nintendo console launches, Zelda has been a common choice. We've seen Twilight Princess launch with the Nintendo Wii, we saw Breath of the Wild launch with the Nintendo Switch, and in other cases we've at least seen Zelda come out relatively early on into the console's life. Ocarina of Time 3D for the 3DS, the Wind Waker for the Nintendo GameCube. So with this history in mind, it does have me wondering, could there be something Zelda in the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal? That's what we're talking about this time on Andres Restart. And now here is a brief message about today's sponsor. Snaxy is the ultimate Android gaming mobile app where you can earn incredible rewards from over 100,000 options while playing your favorite mobile games. And it also helps publishers acquire new users. Every gaming session with Snaxy is rewarding, with over 100,000 items like gift cards, game skins, and in-game coins. Integrate Snaxy into your routine for non-stop gaming, personalized recommendations, generous rewards, and frequent content updates. For more on the Snaxy app, check out the link in the description below. Hello everyone, this is Andres Restart, and today we are getting into some hope we have for something Zelda showing up in the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal, whenever that may happen, be it tomorrow, next week, next year, whenever it happens, are we going to see something Zelda in this reveal? And I think part of that is impacted by what form the reveal takes. Are we simply going to get like a 3 to 4 minute trailer like they did for Nintendo Switch 1? Is it going to be more like a Nintendo Direct of kinds, maybe a 10 to 15 minute presentation? Because if it's more of a Direct, there are a few more games that might fit into that presentation. And just so we're clear, I'm not talking about like a giant presentation like what we got in January 2017 for Nintendo Switch. I'm talking about like a smaller Direct, something kind of more like a museum or movie Direct, except this time it would be especially for a new console. And some of you might be wondering, well, regardless of what it is, if it's Zelda, it's going to be big enough that it would have to be there, right? Well, I'm not so sure, because my perspective right now is that we are not going to get the next brand new 3D Zelda anytime soon. This year, we got Echoes of Wisdom, a new 2D Zelda, something we haven't seen in an extremely long time. And Tears of the Kingdom came out last year. That took them over half a decade to make. So I don't think we're really close to the next 3D Zelda or even a new 2D Zelda. It's just too soon to see something like that. However, could they be repurposing a prior Zelda game? I have theorized for some time that Nintendo will be going back to Ocarina of Time, and I think a project like this would be yielding some impressive visuals. There was a nice remaster back on the 3DS, which came out back in 2011, and so if this remake that we're theorizing could be happening is coming out, say, sometime next year, then I think there is a pretty solid argument to be made that it could show up in this presentation because it might be a visual showcase, and one of the things they want to highlight early on is that Nintendo Switch 2 is significantly more powerful than the Switch 1. But I personally don't think they would be relying on some kind of remake. I think we are still going to get a project like this, but my expectations are actually more like 2026 in time for the Zelda 40th anniversary. I think they're going to wait a little bit and focus more on Mario this time around. I think Mario is going to be taking the spotlight here with 3D Mario, Mario Kart. Those are going to be the big sales that they would most likely have for a first look. And it's not like I don't think they wouldn't have some kind of game to show improvements of Switch 2 that might have been on Switch 1 or beforehand. I think there's a really good chance they might show visual improvements for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Perhaps some third-party games. There's this recent rumor that Elden Ring could be getting a definitive edition for Switch 1. They might want to put that on there. And showing that game looking and running well on the Switch 2 would definitely be a strong selling point. Before continuing on here, I'd just like to say thank you for watching all this time, and if you have been enjoying my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. So I don't think it's likely we're going to see any sort of new Zelda offering during this presentation, even a remake like for Ocarina of Time. But there is something that might show up here. Recently, we've gone like the, I would say, double confirmation of the codename for Nintendo Switch 2, Ounce. This has been shown in the Pokemon Terra leak, something we know to be true. And we've also heard from both Pioro and Midori about the codename of Ounce and other places as well. And what's interesting about this is that there was a supposed leaked project, one of several that Midori put out there. A few of them have already been confirmed and have come out already in the case of Super Mario Party Jamboree and Echoes of Wisdom. But there was one that was a codename Yu King O. Yu King O, many of us believe would be some form of a Breath of the Wild remaster, because Breath of the Wild has the codename of Yu King, and typically with Nintendo's remasters, they just simply add a letter next to the original codename. So what is the O suggesting? Well, if Switch 2's codename is Ounce, I think that's the suggestion right there, a Switch 2 version of Breath of the Wild. And this is very interesting because when we go back to last year, there were reports from Gamescom of a tech demo showcasing the hypothetical abilities of Switch 2. Well, there was two tech demos, one of the Matrix Unreal demo and another of Breath of the Wild, running at 4K, 60 frames per second, and with next to no load times. And so something like this could conceivably be a great way to showcase the improvements from Switch 1 to Switch 2. Breath of the Wild did not run at 60, Breath of the Wild had plenty of load times, and Breath of the Wild's resolution on Switch was running at 900p. This is something that I think could fit into the first look trailer, and I think there's a really good chance we are going to see this come out next year. They might even offer up this treatment for not just Breath of the Wild, but also Tears of the Kingdom. But I personally still don't think it would be the most amazing fit for a first look trailer. Because at the end of the day, Breath of the Wild, we've had access to throughout this entire generation. I don't think showing off Breath of the Wild with an improved resolution and frame rate is going to excite the fan base. If we were only going to get about 3 to 4 minutes of footage in a first look trailer, I think there are so many other things they could show off. Like a 3D Mario, like a Mario Kart, like some big third-party games, maybe a surprise title we're not even thinking about, maybe a new Star Fox or a Donkey Kong, maybe a vastly improved version of Metroid Prime 4 with ray tracing. There are different things they could show that would be impressive. At least in the case of Metroid Prime 4, that game hasn't come out yet. That's more of an exciting premise. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are very well known. Now, another possibility I'll throw out there is that while we haven't been promised any DLC for Tears of the Kingdom, and they've actually told us the opposite, that there are no plans for such a thing, what if they want to do something like an expansion to Tears of the Kingdom exclusively for Switch 2? Something perhaps comparable to what Sony did with Miles Morales on the PlayStation 5. That's something that I think would be in the first look trailer. If something like that is in the works, I think they would absolutely make sure that would be one of the first things we see. I don't think that's the most likely bet, but if that's what they're doing, I think it would be there. And if they mean to show off more than 4 or 5 games, if this is more like a direct rather than a first look trailer, then if they are to be remastering Breath of the Wild and or Tears of the Kingdom, there's a much higher chance we could see that in this initial look at Switch 2. But what do you think? Do you have any hope for Zelda in the Switch 2 reveal whenever that does happen? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.